Hello everyone! Welcome back! I feel like this video is going to divide a lot of you. But today, I want to share with you my honest thoughts on the pay-to-win aspects of UNDAWN now that it's been a month since its launch. Now, keep in mind I'm not sponsored or I'm not even part of the Creator Partner Program, so I'm allowed to speak freely on this topic. And I know that some of you might not like what I have to say about my answer to this question. Is UNDAWN pay-to-win? Yes it is. Hide your wallets and run away now! Okay, that's the end of the video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye! Okay, I'm just kidding. That's not the end of the video, but it would have been really simple to just call it a day and end it there. However, my opinions on this topic can't easily be put into a short answer for you guys. So, do I think that UNDAWN is pay to win? I say yes, but it also depends on a lot of factors that are unique to you. Yes, you. So what is winning to you? And what do you want out of this game? How much time are you willing to put into this game? And what games have you previously played and how bad was the pay-to-win situation over there? It really depends on what you want out of this game because UNDAWN for PvE or for housing or for a Minecraft-like game to unwind after a long day of work, you don't need to swipe for these things. Or at least if you want to spend some money, you don't need to swipe too hard to accomplish these things comfortably. However, if your goal is being competitive in PvP game modes, then perhaps I've got some bad news for you. Let me show you the cash shop really quickly here. These items are all materials that you need to boost your rating and your stats on your character. As you can see, they've tried to limit this by putting a weekly limit on how many items you can buy a week from this shop. But it's still quite a substantial amount. And you can see the cost of RC on this page here as well. So let's count how much it costs to max out this shop every week. And this is only if you want to max out the limited items because I'm not counting the unlimited items on this page here. So it's going to set you back
6,070 RC
per week, and then consider that you can purchase RC straight out and convert it into gold for buying gold tier weapons and gears. And then you can even also convert it into coupons for getting even more upgrades for your character. You can basically steamroll ahead through your progression just by paying money. Is that not the definition of pay to win? And also, I want to take a moment to show you what the rankings on my server look like. Don't look at my rating. This is not typical free-to-play progression, and I expect that it will only get worse as time goes on and the level cap keeps increasing. And don't even get me started on the gachas in this game. But despite the game being blatantly pay to win, I cannot stress enough that you can control what kind of game this is to you. Because PvP in this game is mostly optional and you're not going to get jumped out in the world as long as you don't enter any PvP maps or PvP camp events, so that your gathering or crafting experience will be mostly undisturbed. And if you are someone who has disposable income to spend on the game or even large amounts of cash, and that is how you enjoy spending your money, then really, who is anyone to judge you for what you do with your money? So become the beautiful whales and dolphins and crustaceans that fill the ocean of UNDAWN. But for the rest of us, we're just going to burn ourselves out quickly if we only focus too much on rankings and the numbers at topping charts. Because think about how you're going to get all the way up there to the top of the whale pool, and after you've bought out everything you can at the cash shop, it's going to be by doing every single bit of content every day, staying on top of everything, and the power creep is just going to keep inching up with no end in sight. And even then, that probably won't be enough because someone out there is always going to do more than you or always going to spend more than you. So not for everyone, but for most people, constantly chasing those rankings is likely going to lead to burnout and a negative impact on your self-worth. So let's not let that happen to you. I also want to share with you a story about a game that I used to play. But if you're not interested in that, then feel free to skip below to this timestamp. Okay, so I played a game before where I spent moderately on fashion and cosmetics, because of course I did. And I considered myself as a casual player there and never gave any attention to the rankings. But somehow, I was suddenly shooting up on the rankings until I fell somewhere between the top 100 ratings of my server. This is because people were leaving the game, and more people kept leaving because, well, there were many reasons, But one of the reasons was that the C server opened up a lot later and people just migrated. And then also the most important reason was that the amount of crazy monetization this game had and its daily demands for your time. The game also forced players to automatically join into guilds, and those guilds would then be forced to do PvP content at specific times twice a week. And it just made people feel so crushed and bored, especially when more and more people left and the server died. The number of guilds meeting each other was just not enough to have fair competition. So you were having weak guilds meeting up with stronger guilds and then of course being steamrolled by them. But when I appeared on this chart, I suddenly felt the pressure of not wanting to fall behind anymore. I started obsessively doing every single thing that the game wanted me to do. Daily events, dailies, guild events, and life skilling. I even tried to justify to myself spending money on power-ups because that's how desperately I didn't want to fall in rank. And it made me feel terrible. Every week, a new cash up gacha or event would pop up on my screen, and even though I didn't want it or anything it was offering, it was like it was saying to me, "You need this, otherwise you'll fall behind and then you'll become trash." And that's when I knew that this game had me hooked too far in, so I left it. And while there is an MMO-shaped hole in my heart right now, I've never felt better about that decision. And that's my story about my toxic relationship with And depending on your own financial situation, because it will be different for everyone, you might see the game packs here as more expensive or more cheaper in comparison to other games. And I can say that personally for me, UNDAWN is priced far lower than previous pay-to-win games that I have played. And you can probably do more as a low spender than as a free-to-play player here. But just because it's more affordable doesn't mean that you can say the game isn't pay-to-win at all. But as a free-to-play, I feel like I could definitely still enjoy the content that this game offers, especially if I go with my friends or my camp who can carry me while I support them. Also, I just want to go on the record and say that I'm not free-to-play by choice. It's because I can't actually choose any payment options when I'm playing on this server. Probably for the best, to be honest. But if I had the option to pay, I would probably be a low-spending player in this game, because I have my other job and YouTube, and topping up for things would just be so much easier than spending time grinding in this game. And I hope you guys don't misunderstand, I'm not crapping on people who are sitting at the top rank of their server, because they got there with hard work and perseverance too. I'm saying that only a very few amount of people actually have the capacity to do that. So know yourself and know when you're at your limit. And something that I don't see a lot of people talking about is that lower rating players can sometimes beat out players that are at higher or similar rating to them if they know what they're doing, or if they know how to upgrade their rating properly, or just if they're willing to play harder and sweat more. For example, if you time your throwables at the right time in Lost City, you could get the AoE kills going towards your damage totals before anyone else even has a chance to touch the mobs. If your reaction time is faster than other players, you'll also be able to snatch damage and kills towards you too. And if you're good at doing bobbing and weaving on your opponents, you could even down someone whose rating is higher than you in PvP, especially if they're just standing there and straight shooting at you. There's a level of skill involved in this game, certainly. However, it does have a threshold for how far that skill can take you to where it meets with how much money the other person has thrown at the game until they've gotten good. Playing a game should never feel forced upon you. You should never feel forced to do every content or spend money that you don't have. Games should be challenging, fun, and rewarding for players. And while the cash shop currently seems pretty standard so far, with battle passes, monthly subscription packs, blah blah blah, I'll be keeping my eyes open in case the game devs start doing a bait and switch on us. For example, if they start pushing PvP events on players who don't want it, because PvP really highlights the gaps in rating and competition, and that makes people willing to pay more. But if you keep playing at your own pace, you will eventually be able to reach the same set bonuses and milestones of the pay-to-win players as a free-to-play. Granted, by that time, those spending player will probably still be ahead of you if they're still playing too. Someone who doesn't spend is never going to be able to progress in rating at the same speed as the highest spending player. They just have more access to resources than free-to-plays do. For example, you can even buy talent points, which to me is a little bit absurd because it makes the playing field that much more uneven than it already is. I mean, why even put a level cap in if you're just going to offer more talent points to paying players to level their skills higher than a free-to-play? Or what about the cheap part components that are mostly only available on the store? And while you can say that it is possible for a free-to-play player to beat a paying player in PvP modes, and I would certainly believe that that can happen, but what would happen if you put a free-to-play player against someone who had the same level of skill as them, but their opponent was also spending money on the game? It's a fight that I would want to watch, but I sadly know the outcome of. But don't let this all get you down though. UNDAWN offers a variety of activities that cater to your different interests to keep you engaged. So if you enjoy crafting and gathering, dive into those aspects and spend time doing what you love. And if you have a knack for predicting the market and enjoying making trades on the trading post, then do that. Maybe you're more into socializing and showing off your beautiful builds at house parties. Embrace that. And if you enjoy running dungeons and fighting against big bosses, nailing every mechanic perfectly, this game has got that for you. And if you are a competitive PvP player, it's important to understand the nature of the game that you're signing up for. But wait, isn't aimbot and wall hacking still a thing? Also, try not to get laser focused on top players. I mean, you can always peek at their gears to get inspired for your own builds and stats. But it's just not fair to compare your entire wonderful self to people who spend a lot of money on this game. You are amazing, and you're talented, and you're beautiful, and more than just a character in a game. So instead of studying the ranking charts, focus on having fun and doing the things that you enjoy. And if you find that you are struggling by yourself, you can always try to find a good camp to join. I know that we all want to live out our badass solo Kirito everything era, but a good camp can help you with the more difficult content in the game. And I know this sounds a lot like copium, but if you do decide to keep playing UNDAWN, I hope that this perspective shift can help you to have an amazing time. The game is beautiful after all, and it's fun if you put aside all of this. So remember, it's not just about blaming the game for being pay to win, and I don't want to make excuses for games being pay to win, because no matter what your definition of the word is, UNDAWN is unashamedly trying its hardest to get you to spend more than you want to. But let's just accept the reality of it and make a choice if you want to keep playing or not. This got so preachy suddenly, I'm sorry. I know that we don't know each other too well, but I wanted to rant about what I've been witnessing here, because trust me, I've been through it already in a much more monetized and soul-crushing game than this one. And I am disappointed with how this game turned out, but I knew what I was getting into when I saw that this was a mobile game with a free-to-play monetization model. That holy grail MMO that you've been waiting for all these years? You know, the last game that you'll ever need to play because it just has everything you'd ever need from a game and ethical monetization practices? Well, guess what? That game is not coming out anytime soon. Every mobile game is all about monetization now and preying on you to get you to either do the most or spend the most. And I get it, it's really not fair. But let this video be the one that tells you that it's okay not to spend too much money on this game, and you don't have to break the bank to have fun in UNDAWN. Because do you really think that game devs are making games out of their own goodwill and not for a profit? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm just kidding. Even though I'm slightly disappointed, I'm not quitting UNDAWN just yet. I'm going to keep playing and making videos here, at least until I run out of things to do as a free-to-play. So thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to me and helps my small channel to grow more than you know. I must have missed out covering other pay-to-win stuff in this game too, because there's so much of it. So why don't you let us know if there's anything I missed in this video? As always, I'll be responding to as many comments as I can that are left here on the first day that I upload. So hit that bell notification so you can be here too. And that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!